In this holiday season, we look at holiday traditions, meals at Grandma's, vision of sugar plums, and music filling the air. Here in Chicago, there's a unique way to engage in the sounds of music. The People's Music School offers tuition-free classes for anyone who wants to learn how to play a musical instrument. With nearly 500 ethnically diverse students and over 30 teachers offering instruction in 13 instruments plus voice, the People's Music School provides high-quality music instruction and performance opportunities for personal and professional growth. The school also cultivates an informed and appreciative audience for classical music. Tonight on Community Media and You, we look at this tuition-free classical music school. Joining me are Robert Feeler, who's the Executive Director of People's Music School, longtime school teacher Carter Hoyt, and Nikki Adams, a parent of 3 People's Music School students, and indeed a student yourself, Nikki.
Yeah.
How did you discover this institution?
Oh, my husband talked to a neighbor of ours, and she said, you know, we're going to this great school. And I'd heard, smatterings of, oh, this is a great school, it's a great school. And I'm like, oh, you got to spend the night to get in there. I'm not doing that. And my husband's like, I'll do it. Why not? So he calls me, and he's like, only 2 of our kids can get in. And, I'm like, well, we better try it. And go ahead. So they got in, and I was floored. And I'm crying right now because it's such an amazing place. And I walked in, and you're talking about Christmas, and it's funny because I think about that when I walk in there. It's like when you walk into your house for Christmas and you go, I'm home, and you just feel that way. And it's really kind of silly, but every time I walk into there, I'm like, I'm home. And it feels really good to be there. And then I get into the school, and my daughter got into the school, and I absolutely love it. And, sorry.
This is like lining up for Cubs tickets? People line up to get in this place? I mean, this is music, right? This is classical music. And you're in Uptown. There's some disconnects I've always sort of felt about this wonderful place. Bob, why are people lining up ahead of time to try to get a spot for their kids?
It's free music, that's the universal language, and it has a reputation. It's interesting. The night and the days before registration, it almost turns into a little community out there.
It does.
It was a new experience for me, and the first couple times whenever I would show up and there'd be tents and lawn chairs and this line stretching, I had heard about it, but to actually experience it was really quite something. And this most recent time was really surprising to me. I was leaving work 2 days before registration started, and I wasn't even thinking about registration yet because in my mind, I was so focused in the moment and it was still far off. And I was leaving, and I was locking up the place, and as I walked out the door, there was a woman sitting there in a lawn chair, and I asked her, I said, can I help you? What are you doing? And she said, I'm first in line. I've been rejected 3 times trying to get my kids in here, and darn it, I'm getting them in this time. And it was really quite an incredible thing. The line stretches all the way down the block and wraps around the corner, and it's free music.
So, Cara Hoyt, let's talk a little bit about this history that led to long lines like waiting for Cubs tickets. A Juilliard-trained pianist has a dream. Her name's Rita Simo. Where did you hear about her first, and how did you end up being one of her first teachers?
I was studying music at the Chicago Musical College of Roosevelt University. And my advisor at that time was a friend of Rita's. She had met her out east and came to me and said, well, I know this person that's starting a music school up in the north side, a free music school, and we need a teacher. And I was in the music education department, so it was a perfect opportunity for me to do some student teaching, get my feet wet. And hooked up with her a couple months after the school opened in 1976. And here we are in the year 2006.
Did you ever think when you were doing student teaching that you'd have this kind of permanent gig in
I-
a non-public school?
Never.
I remember when I was in grammar school, we had piano lessons.
Sure.
Sometimes even during the school day, but certainly after school. And I graduated on to piano lessons with a private teacher, but there aren't lessons being offered anymore in schools, are there?
It's a very tough
maybe
environment.
At the high school level.
Yeah. When you get to the education.
How do we end up missing out on that? Budget cuts? Or is
Budget
it more
cuts, I would say it's
complicated?
money, sure. The first thing they cut is the arts.
Yeah.
It's more important to have math and English, etc. And certainly those are extremely important ideas, but the arts give it a perspective, You need the arts in the world of education, and it's a shame that because of the financial resources not being available in many cases, we just can't offer it in the regular
Pennywise
public
and
school
pound
system.
foolish, all the research
Right.
shows
Yeah.
that art and music engages the creative mind to do better. You must see this with your kids.
Yeah.
There's a reason they wanted their parents to stand in line there.
Exactly.
Or not. I mean, I also
No, you know,
remember some
no.
reluctance going to piano lessons.
No, you know
but
what? And that's what I was thinking when you said that, because it's funny because I took piano before this and I couldn't stand it. And my kids took piano before this. We went through like 4 or 5 piano teachers. I mean, we would go years at a time, but they would complain. And I have not heard one complaint about our teacher at this school. And I even love going myself. Like, Carter's my teacher. And I'm like, oh, I gotta go. And I'm like, oh, you know what? It's gonna be great. It's Carter. And you go in there and he'll play piano for you. And he does stuff for you. And he's always got something funny to say or something. And it's not the music. It's the whole environment. And you never dread it. And my kids are really good piano players. They teach me. You know, they're great.
So how long have they been taking lessons?
At People's or just in life? At
In life.
People's? In life. The oldest started at 4 and she's now 10. And I guarantee she would not be taking now if it weren't for People's Music School, because she was on the edge of like, I'm done. And the other one started at 4 as well, and she's 8 now. And then the baby started at like 5, and she's
So
6 now.
once you succeed in that queue days before registration and your kids get in, are they then able to come back, or do you have to
You have to
stand
do
in line each time?
No, you don't. You have to do volunteer hours. But you know, it's contributing to the school. You sell cookies. What else do we do? Lots of stuff. But it's so much fun. It's like it's not
Nikki's
work.
introduced me to how you make free music available. I mean, yes, I know you have grants, but I know how tough it is to raise grant money.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you keep a place that has 500 students and you're not charging tuition?
Well,
how do you keep the doors open?
It's such a unique place, and I'm sure that we'll talk about it later, but the woman who started it, Rita Simo, is quite an extraordinary woman, and the vision that she had and the structure she put in place is incredible in how it works, and it's an interesting model. I'm surprised others haven't followed it, but as it stands right now, it's the only totally free music school of its kind in the whole United States. But the way we're able to do that, and it's quite a large scope. In the last year, we gave about 15,000 free music lessons, hundreds of students. There's 24 concerts, all this activity. But the way Rita set it up, the name, the People's Music School, and instead of paying money, she thought everyone has different amounts of money, but everyone has the same amount of time, and so she said, if you want to take music lessons here, there's a few things that you have to do. You have to prove that you're a serious student, and so we have some attendance requirements. You have to give back to the school on a volunteer basis. So every single student or their parent is required to do a certain number of volunteer hours per semester, and that is their payment. And that allows us to do all of that work with a small handful of administrative staff. It's really the parents and the students that run the school.
Yeah.
As a teacher, are you compensated for your time?
Yes. It's not a volunteer thing, but in
have
the
to pay the
world
rent.
of real education, none of the teachers make anything that close to what you would normally. As you mentioned, there's 30 teachers teaching lessons of all kinds, and nobody gets the type of compensation you would in the private world, so to speak. But it's the spirit of the
I was
place.
gonna say, don't you love being there?
It's like you said, when you walk in the door, it's like home. It's every Saturday I come in to teach my theory classes, and you walk in the door, and it's like, there's everyone. The
Yeah.
family's here. Kids, the smallest to the, we've had octogenarian in our classes. Last semester, a young lady of 82 years old was in my class. You never know who's going to be there from semester to semester, and it's just a joy to see the expressions on people's faces as they begin to get this knowledge and begin to get the opportunity to do something that they wanted to do for so many years maybe, but never had the opportunity.